welcome to another episode of FooBar. In this video, let's continue talking about some of my favorite reInvent launches from 2023. This week, let's keep on talking about step functions because there really is quite a lot of interesting things. In this video, we are going to talk about the new test state that allows you to test any step function state. And I have to say that this might be one of my favorite announcements so far. It's a little bit an underdog announcement, but it's very powerful if you're using step function. So let's get started. So I think I have been preaching for many months or years that step functions is one of the easiest ways to build serverless applications because it provides all the orchestration between the different APIs. It allows you to invoke functions to do the business logic, and you can handle errors, retries, and all kind of sort of things. But one of the things that I've been hearing a lot and I've been suffering a lot is the testing. Usually what we needed to do is save the state machine, deploy the state machine, and test it, execute it, and keep on going. And now with this test state, we can test the different states on our state machine without really deploying the state machine. So this is really cool. And this will accelerate the feedback cycle. You can use this from the Workflow Studio or from your code. I think the user experience is way better in the Workflow Studio. So we will check it there, but we will also check the part of the CLI as well. And in this demo, what I want to show you is a state machine that I already deployed. Imagine that you are building this. The thing here is that I can show you different types of states and how they work. So the code for deploying this is in the description box. You can deploy it, you can test it. But you will see that in each of these states, no matter which one I select, there is a new button here called Test State. So if I click on it, then I will be able to test the state. So you click this button, and this state machine is deployed, but it could be on a state machine that it was not saved yet. That is a new thing. The first thing you need to do is to set up the execution role if you haven't. So this is also a great way to make sure that your role has the right permissions. Because sometimes we create permissions and we don't add the right things into our role, so that's important. Then is the state input. That's something that you might need to pass. So in this case, because this is the initial state, I will just pass event from S3, from event bridge, that will trigger this state. And then we have the inspection level, and here you can see if you do the info, it will just return the state logs. And then if you do the debug, it returns also the input and output processing. So let's do the info first, and let's see what happens. Start. And here you can see the state output. So this is what this state, in this case is I think a get file, is returning. So we can see it's going to the file, it's getting it. So this file exists, and we can actually copy this and we can move to the next step. So now we can check if the translate text works. So I will paste here the output from the previous step into here. And again, here we have our role. We can check if the role has permissions to access, in this case, translates. And we can also, for example, now check with the debug. So let's run this. Oh. Here, start test. And here we can see that this is the output. And here it's the source, the target, and this is the translated language, blah, blah, blah. And here we can see the input, the after input path, the after parameters, result, after select. So all the different transformations that our data goes through. So if we go here, we can copy the output and then pass it into the next step. And we can test. This is a store of a file. And all these operations are actually doing the operation on the API level. So this will store a file in this particular bucket. I always press done, but I need to press start test. So in this way, if we go to the bucket, we will see that there is a new object with this particular name. But it's a great way to make sure that each individual step is working. For passing state, this is a good one. So here we have our big state input. And now I want to do some formatting with intrinsic functions. So you can test the intrinsic functions as well and make sure that the pass state with those intrinsic functions are working. So This, you don't need to provide, for example, the whole input. You can maybe only provide the parts that you are interested in and start evolving from there. So this is really powerful. You can also test functions in the same way. And again, if we do this, the function will run. So this is really hitting the integrations. And this is a great way to make sure that things are working. Then when you're ready that everything is working, you can just basically save the state machine and boom, try it out and execute it. And then you will be more confident that everything is working. So this is how we do it from the console. You can also do it from the CLI. I will say that the CLI experience is a little bit harder because you need to write the definition in the CLI itself. So here we have the JSON. This is for our state and basically a choice state. And then we need to pass a role because in this case, it doesn't matter because it's not invoking anything. But if it was invoking a function or calling a service or an API, that role needs to have permission to access that API. And this is the input. So in the same sense, it's more or less the same. And then you run that and you will see the output, the next state, and the status. So this is a handy way. Also, you can build a test suite and do integration tests of your step functions if you want with this AWS CLI. So you can build quite an interesting things. So that video for me today. I know it's a short video, but I think you will see it when I do next week video that I'm going to talk about the new HTTP endpoints, how this comes into play, and it's super handy. So stay tuned for next week video. And if you like this video, give a thumbs up. I will keep on talking about re:Invent launches in these coming weeks. If you want to see all the launches for this year, just check this playlist that is in the screen. And if you want to learn more about Bedrock and the new optimized integration with step functions that was the launch from last week, check it out here and you will learn about that one. And you can also test that integration even before deploying the state machine. So I see you in another episode of FooBar.